My name's Eric Dawson. I'm 44 and work as a software engineer, but more than that, I'm someone who learned, painfully, that betrayal doesn't always wear a stranger's face. Sometimes, it comes from those you call family, those you love, support, and trust. 3 months ago, I was laid off. Not because I was bad at my job. Quite the opposite. I'd given over a decade of loyalty to a company that was eventually swallowed by a hedge fund. And they asked most of us to reduce costs. Just like that, I was a number on a spreadsheet. That day, I sat in my car for 20 long minutes after coming home, staring at nothing. I wasn't afraid of what came next. I had savings, smart investments. But I dreaded how the news would be received. That night, dinner was already served. My wife Clarissa and her teenage daughter Mia were laughing at some TikTok video. I waited for the right moment and calmly told them I had been let go, that the company had laid off nearly everyone. Clarissa didn't react much, just a short "that's unfortunate" as she sipped her wine. But Mia? She didn't hesitate. She looked me straight in the eye and said, "I don't need a jobless man pretending to be my father." That sentence hit like a punch to the chest. I'd raised Mia since she was 9, paid for her school trips, taught her how to ride a bike, bought her first phone, and now she tossed me aside like an outdated gadget. Clarissa didn't scold her or even act surprised. She just got up and walked off with her wine glass. The 2 weeks that followed were unbearable. Clarissa started coming home late, always glued to her phone with a sly little smile. The warmth in our home was gone. I felt like a ghost. Then one morning, I came back from a job interview and saw divorce papers sitting on the kitchen counter. No explanation, no note, just the cold formality of petition for dissolution of marriage. When I asked her about it, she was ice cold. "I married a provider, not a liability," she said. "This isn't what I signed up for." She went on to say she'd be taking the house, the car, and all the savings. Then she smiled, that smug, cruel kind of smile. But there was one thing she hadn't considered. Everything was in my name. The house. I bought it 5 years ago, solely under my name. The car? It was leased under my business. The savings? Locked away in a trust that predates our marriage. And yes, she signed a prenup. Back then she laughed about it and said it was silly. Her lawyer reached out, expecting a payday. Instead, they got a reality check. She was entitled to nothing. No house. No vehicle. Not a single cent. She stormed into my office that day, furious. "You tricked me," she screamed. "No," I replied. "You just never cared enough to understand." A week later, Mia came home to find a for sale sign planted in the lawn. Clarissa was frantically trying to find somewhere to go. The guy she had been texting, some gym executive, ghosted her when she mentioned divorce. Turns out, he was married and never had plans to leave his wife. A couple of months passed. I moved into a loft downtown, smaller but filled with peace. No icy glances, no passive aggression, no betrayal living under my roof. Then, on a rainy afternoon, someone knocked on the door. It was Clarissa, soaked, makeup smeared, her eyes tired. She looked like someone who hadn't slept in weeks. "I made a mistake," she whispered. "I miss you." I didn't say anything right away. I stepped aside and let her glimpse the apartment. Sitting at the dining table was Michelle, someone I'd met at a tech seminar. She was warm, thoughtful, and genuine. Clarissa saw her and understood immediately. She had lost me completely. "You always said I'd never find better," I told her. "But the truth is I didn't need better. I just needed real." She turned and left without another word. Weeks later, I received a handwritten letter from Mia. She apologized, saying she hadn't realized what I'd done for her until it was too late. She asked if we could talk. I didn't answer. Some bridges, once burned, don't need rebuilding. This wasn't a tale of revenge. It was clarity. Love, I learned, can be conditional. And betrayal doesn't scream. It creeps in slowly, quietly, under your roof. But the greatest victory? Walking away. Not in anger, but with peace. Then one Sunday morning, I sat with coffee on my balcony when a message came through. "Eric, it's Mia. I know you probably don't want to hear from me. But I'm sorry. I was young, stupid, and cruel. Can we talk, please?" I stared at the screen. I thought about replying. Maybe say, "You weren't stupid, just entitled, and I let you be." But I didn't. I just locked my phone and finished my coffee. That week, Michelle and I had dinner with friends. People who were curious, kind, and talked about ideas rather than gossip. During dessert, someone tapped my shoulder. It was Clarissa. She looked worn down, almost fragile. I stood out of politeness. But Michelle gently took my hand, calm and steady. Clarissa noticed and asked if we could talk alone. Outside the restaurant, she admitted she was seeing a therapist. She said she finally realized she had projected her unhappiness onto me. "You gave everything," she said, voice cracking. "And I threw it away." I listened, but deep down I saw it clearly. The remorse, yes, but also the old manipulation wearing a softer face. "I miss the man who held me during storms," she said. "The man who worked overtime to send Mia to private school. I miss your strength." I looked at her for a long time. "That man? You mocked him when he lost his job. Your daughter called him useless. And you let her. You don't miss me, you miss the life I gave you." She flinched but didn't argue. "You left when you thought I had nothing. Now that you see I've rebuilt, you want back in. But it's not about money. It's about who I became after you walked out. I found peace. I found respect from myself and someone else. Someone who loves me for who I am, not what I provide." The next day, Mia sent another email, 3 full pages of raw honesty. She owned everything. How she copied her mother's contempt. How she mistook generosity for obligation. She said she was now volunteering with underprivileged kids, and had realized how rare my presence was. She asked if we could meet. This time, I wrote back, "Mia, thank you for your honesty. Growth takes courage. I'm proud of you. But I still need space. I wish you well. And hope one day, you become the person I once believed you already were." And I meant it. Michelle and I traveled that year. We explored Greece, Morocco, the Pacific Northwest. We built a quiet life, reading books, cooking dinners, sharing silence. She asked about my past but never judged it. "You don't need to apologize for how you healed," she once said. Sometimes I'd think about the house, the one filled with cold dinners, shallow praise, and the birthdays I never felt celebrated. But they didn't haunt me anymore. Clarissa made one last attempt. On New Year's Eve, at 11:58 p.m., a message arrived. "If you're alone tonight, I'm thinking of you. We could have had everything." I watched the fireworks from the rooftop with Michelle leaning on my shoulder. Steady, warm, real. I never replied. Because we did have everything. Clarissa just didn't know what that really meant, until it was too late.